And I'm joined now by Dave Wolber, a professor at the University of San Francisco. Hello, Professor Wolber.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
We'll stick with Dave from here on out.
Good.
So you teach App Inventor in one of your classes, and it's got a great name. I think it's Computing Robots and the Web. It's a big sky thing.
That's right. That's right.
And you co-authored App Inventor, Create Your Own Android Apps. So this is a programming course for non-developers. How does that work?
Well, not only non-developers, the students that take my course typically are there because they're afraid of math. They hate math, and the course covers the math requirement. Okay. So it's that's the baseline. They're real smart kids, artists, designers, business students, but they're not programmers. They've never dreamed of writing a computer program.
Okay. And in terms of the apps that they create, do you see them making different things than, say, someone who is a computer science major?
Absolutely. There's computer science kids that are very creative, but in general, their creativity is a little bit different. Like the students that come into my class now, the designs are beautiful. They'll use great art. They'll actually spend time making the app look good. They have maybe more of a world view of things sometimes. So they're not inward focused kids. They're real smart kids with lots of interests, and now they're applying that to building software, right? It's pretty cool.
So, one of the things that we've been talking about in the wake of Steve Jobs passing is the marriage of the humanities and technology, right? Of art coming together with design, with tech.
Yeah.
So when you think about things like App Inventor, some of the possibilities that are there, what have been some of the apps that have been created? And for people who are watching, you should know that this has been covered by a lot of major media now, right?
Sure, yeah. We had some articles in Wired magazine, that sort of thing. One student wrote an app called No Texting While Driving. Basically, you set it down next to you in the car. When a text comes in, it speaks the text aloud. It responds automatically, so you can say, "Honey, I'm driving right now. I can't answer the text right now."
Okay.
So you can use all this great Android functionality, but build stuff very quickly and very easily. Talking, speaking out loud, text-to-speech, texting, GPS, right? So a bunch of students have done a bunch of location-aware apps.
Cool.
So they'll be walking around campus and they can see information about USF buildings, that sort of thing.
The old augmented reality world.
Augmented reality, and so it's really, back to Steve Jobs. I think there's a programmer divide, right? So creativity has gone crazy the last 20 years, but there's been this barrier to building interactive apps, and I think that's the next one, right? Creative people being able, not just mobile, but building software. It's a big leap, but blocks languages like App Inventor really help.
So this is actually a great lead into I think the last question I was going to ask, and I'll flip them around here. How important is it for students as they look out into a job market that's pretty scary for young people right now? I think it's twice the national average for 18 to 24-year-olds.
Yes.
To learn to make apps using something like this versus learning how to code. Do you see a lot of them going on from your class to then take more computer science classes, or just getting sort of their knowledge base up and then kind of incorporate it into the rest of their work?
Yeah. Well, first of all, our goal was not to get students to go on in computer science with that course, but we're getting like 20-some-odd% that do, which is incredible for us. It's never happened. Basically, they get past the syntax and the terrible error messages, the stuff that kills most, even really smart kids. They just go away. They get past that. They get motivated because they're building something for their phone, and then they get to the really hard problems, the logic problems. But those are fun, right? It's like doing a puzzle or something. We're finding students go on, and job-wise, I read something, 21% of all jobs in 5 years will have a programming element. It's software's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
People need this skill, and I don't have to talk my students into that. What I got to talk them into is it's possible to build an app. It's not just computer nerds over in the corner, right? They can do it.
So this is something I hear from a lot of educators, that App Inventor has been really important in terms of substantially democratizing the ability to do this important thing.
Yeah.
And there was a kind of a great hue and cry when the future of App Inventor was up in the air briefly.
Yes.
And it looks like it's ended up at MIT. Can you talk more about what's happened there and the outcome?
Well, Hal Abelson was the originator, right? He was at MIT, he taught a class, a bunch of kids, he wanted to teach them mobile. You know, what can you do with mobile phones? What's mobile technology all about? And what he did was teach them Java, because it took him the whole semester to do that. So that's why he built App Inventor. And basically, he incubated it for 2 years at Google. And starting January 1st, it will be running at MIT on MIT servers.
Got it.
The guys that did Scratch, Eric Klopfer, Mitchell Resnick, they are now joining with Hal, and about 20 really excited MIT students. I was just there last weekend, and they are going to turn App Inventor into something really special.
Cool.
It's going to be really cool education-wise, but Google's also open sourcing it. So I think we're going to see a developer version, which is really, for prototyping, rapid development of apps, and code generation, where you can get to Java from your blocks, basically.
So last question before we wrap up then. For people who want to get started with App Inventor now, who might be listening to the live stream or watching on YouTube later on, where should they start?
Well, I got a site called appinventor.org.
Yep.
It's got a link to my book. It's got a link to App Inventor, a bunch of teaching materials. You can go there to learn App Inventor, or if you're interested in teaching a class, there's a bunch of free materials for teaching, so set it up.
Outstanding. All right, well, that's Professor Dave Wolber from the University of San Francisco. You just heard the URL, so you can go and find those.